I'm sorry.
Biden says he takes out the Supreme Court. Takes it up.
I'm dismantling it.
Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2024 to the News Record and Star Ledger in December of 2023, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Right,
Here.
Daffis,
Here.
Luca,
Here.
Engel,
Here.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, here, thank you.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public. And whereas Section 7A provides that the governing body has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting. And whereas the desire of the governing body to comply with the provisions of this act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee, Township Maplewood does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in the deliberations of the governing body by the public, except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public to the observations of the actions and discussions of the governing body at all of its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Daffis.
Yes.
DeLuca.
Yes.
Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Please stand for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the
flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Welcome to the July 2nd meeting of the Maplewood Township Committee. We have a couple of, to run through a quick agenda. We have a Youth Advisory Committee reappointment for a term that was ending. We have public comment for agenda items only. We have our Board of Health meeting. And then we have ordinance, no ordinances on final passage. We have an introduction of an ordinance regarding setbacks in the zones. That'll be led by Mr. Daffis. Then we have reports from departments, and we have none of those. So then we move to administrative reports, administration, township attorney, and township clerk. We have reports from elected officials, committee member DeLuca, deputy mayor Kripe, committee member Daffis, committee member Engel, and then I go. Discussion items. We have 3 discussion items. The first is canceling the Tuesday, August 20th, 2024 Township Committee meeting. The second is New Jersey Transit Service. That's by Deputy Mayor Kripe. And the third is National Night Out, and that's my discussion item. Then we have a consent agenda, much of which is renewing liquor licenses for establishments in the township. Then we have public comment on any subject matter, and then we will adjourn. So with that, we'll go to the no proclamations number on the agenda. We'll go to the Youth Advisory Committee reappointment. Ms. Engel, did you want to take that?
Sure. So we just appointed Ms. Kessler to our Youth Advisory Committee, but because of the way our ordinance is written, we just need to go through this motion of reappointing her. So I move to reappoint Violet Kessler to the Youth Advisory Committee.
Second that. I'll second that.
Okay.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Daffis.
Yes.
DeLuca.
Yes.
Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. We come to the first public comment session of the agenda, and this is preferably for agenda items only. Is there anybody in the meeting who would like to speak on public comment for agenda items? Mr. Ware, you want to do a head start on looking on Zoom?
If any members of the public joining us on Zoom would like to speak in public portion on agenda items only, please raise your hand now. I see no hands, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll move on to the Board of Health meeting, and I'll turn it over to committee member Engel. Sorry, I had to.
Yeah. Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, PL 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2024 to the News Record and Star Ledger in December 2023, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Right,
Here.
Daffis.
Here.
DeLuca,
Here.
Mayor Adams.
Here.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires all meetings of public bodies be open to the public. And whereas Section 7A provides that the Board of Health has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting. And whereas desire the Maplewood Board of Health to comply with the provision of this act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner. Now therefore be resolved by the Maplewood Board of Health in the Township of Maplewood that it does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in the deliberations of the Board of Health by the public, and except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public to the observations of the actions and discussions of the Board of Health at all of its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Daffis.
Yes.
Luca.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes. Now I move to approve the Board of Health meeting minutes from June 5th, 2024.
Move them.
Yeah.
I'll move them.
Second.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes. Now I turn it over to our health officer, Candace Davenport.
Good evening, everyone. And we will put up the presentation. I thought I would change it up a bit and start off with our highlight of our Collaborative Support Programs of New Jersey, or CSP&J partner.
There you go.
Be of interest to everyone since they are our new partner. They started about 2 months ago
Yeah.
on May 1st.
In the mic.
They started on May 1st, so they've been with us for 2 months now. And next slide. Yep. And here are some updates for everyone, just so you know their hours of operation are from Tuesday to Saturday. Their hours are flex because we wanted to get to the unhoused individuals at the times when they would be available. And because it's summer months, we seem to see them out later on in the day. So that would be a good time to make contact. These hours may change as the seasons change as well, but we are starting off with this time frame. Since May 1st to June 30th, they have encountered a total of 21 individuals, 7 of whom they have not engaged with as of yet for any additional services, but 14 are chronic cases that they've had 3 or more encounters with. Next slide.
Health Officer Davenport, excuse me. Could we tell for the public who they are?
Oh, sure. Collaborative Support Programs of New Jersey are our awardees for the Homeless Outreach and Engagement Pilot Program that we started on May 1st for this year. Thank you. So one of the things that they offer, and I think I've mentioned it before, that CSP&J comes with a whole lot of services and resources that we did not realize. And one of those that I'd really like to highlight tonight is the Better Life services. So Better Life is located in Newark. It is their location where they offer all of these services. If you scroll up a little bit more, you'll see that they have a cooling center, which they've offered to us if we ever needed it during the daytime, food assistance and meals served daily, along with a whole bunch of other services, including legal and Zoom court assistance and social services application assistance. So you can do that over there, and they've been very helpful with sharing that resource. Next slide. Some successes and follow-ups and next steps. Some successes are that they've relocated an individual to respite care and they provided them with transport. They completed 1 housing application, which means that someone is on their way to hopefully receiving and being eligible for affordable housing. 1 Salvation Army transport was assisted. 3 individuals have visited the Better Life Center already and taken advantage of that. 2 belongings relocation to the Better Life Center. 4 bus tickets were distributed for transport to Better Life. 1 transported to Social Security and to public assistance. 1 city ID referral, 1 unemployment connection, 2 2-on-1 referrals where they stayed on the phone call with them to ensure that they had access to a shelter for that night, and 5 food assistance referrals. So they're doing a lot of work. Again, I'm surprised myself at how many people they've actually had contact with, but they're making a difference with the lives of these people who are, happy to talk with them. Next steps are that they will, CSP&J, they're 2 staff people. They work 20 hours a week. Their names are Tyshawn and Jason. They will be at the adult library on Saturdays from 12 to 2 p.m. to offer online application assistance to social services like WIC, SNAP, unemployment, and such. They also have connected us already to attend the City and County Coordinated Assessment monthly meeting. So that's where we're going to network with a whole bunch of other county services and resources. And they're looking to find a dedicated shelter bed access for Maplewood in the event that we need it at the local Newark YMCA. So a dedicated bed has been one of the issues that we've had where we've called shelters in the past and they've already been full. But if they can get one dedicated bed for us, that could help out one individual who might want to get out of the street for the night. And I will keep moving on. So this is the flyer that was created by Joanne Beckerich at the library. I want to thank the library services for that. They created this flyer that they're distributing out through their social media about the services of CSP&J and what they offer. Again, that's from 12 to 2. So if you're in the area, please do stop by or make a referral to them. And all these services, as usual, are free. Next slide. So moving on to some highlights, I just want to highlight that the City Health Dashboard data that we have, they have recognized us and interviewed our department for their most recent impact story on visualizing local level data to strengthen the health department and health services. So the article link is there, and I hope you'll share it with everyone. It just shows what local health departments can do with localized data and improving neighborhoods. Next slide. Speaking of improving neighborhoods, we had our annual health fair on June 15th, where we provided screenings of blood pressure, hepatitis B and C, and mammograms, as well as future mammogram appointments for women who are insured or uninsured. The mobile drug drop box with the police department handled 6 pounds of unused or expired medication. Next slide. And we are still offering health screenings every Monday, every first Monday of the month at our farmers market. So we do hope that people will attend the clinics. The next one will be August 5th at our Maplewood Farmers Market. Next slide. And just to give you some highlights, again, all this information will be available through the weekly e-blasts that go through the township and also on our township website. For the health department, but just to highlight some reportable diseases that our nurses have investigated, and COVID is still around. So these cases, I just want people to know, are associated with an outbreak or with hospitalization. So they are more severe cases, but cases nonetheless that I want you to be aware of. And next slide. Let me see here. One of the things that we will highlight is vaccines for children, where people can get free vaccines through the county. This is especially important as people are getting ready for school. I know it's summer, but it's always good to get these vaccinations early so that children are eligible and it doesn't stop them from going into school starting in September. Next slide. And animal control. This is our last report from Bloomfield. So I just want to give a thank you to the Township of Bloomfield for assisting us with animal control. As you can see, we had 22 phone calls for animal control, but most of those were sick and injured wildlife. Next slide. And our environmental health for June, just wanted to give you a synopsis of what our services are and all the inspections that we have done and the complaints we've responded to. Next slide. And Essex Regional Health Commission, I always want to highlight them because we do have a contract with them, and they addressed 1 noise complaint with a violation issued and 2 idling car complaints. So that's something that they do for us. Next slide. Thank you. So for our crisis intervention social workers, just to give you a highlight from January to June and a total for the first half of the year, our crisis social workers have intervened and had interactions with 80 total cases, with co-response of 32 cases and clinical cases of 16 cases. And then we just want to highlight that the Maplewood Farmers Market is highlighted in the Essex County, New Jersey Farmers Market notification, and that people can apply for, who have WIC, can apply for the Farmers Market program where they can get discounts at our farmers market. And of course, our phone numbers for emergency services and social services that we hope people will take advantage of. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from my colleagues for Ms. Davenport?
Ms. Davenport, a few weeks ago, I had gone to the Family Connect event to listen to, Tammy Murphy in regards to the women's health program. And I don't know if there was been any information shared from that for the community. I don't know if folks are aware of it and the fact that with the number of people having children, that they've got 2 weeks of postpartum care for free
Yes.
that they can just apply for.
Yes, we've talked about that before, so thank you so much for attending that event. And I do think we have to do a better job of communicating that is available through the Partnership for Maternal Child Health. And in Essex County, any woman, insured or uninsured, is eligible for within 2 weeks of postpartum to get a visit from a home visiting nurse to give them assistance and services with their new baby and healing for themselves and adjusting to a new family.
Right.
So I can send out that flyer again.
Yeah, and also could you do the secondary one in regards to looking for people trained to become certified to be the providers for that? Because they had mentioned that with the numbers of people being born, they don't have enough doulas and nurse practitioners signed in the program.
If
That's job opportunities.
if they have an employment sheet that they are
Okay.
that they send, if you could send that to me, I'll attach it.
Oh, well.
That's great. Okay, thank you. Yes, we need more people working and doing this good work.
Any other questions? I have 2 questions. Okay, I have 2 questions. The first is regarding animal control with the changeover. Is there anything residents need to know? Like, do they just still call the same number listed on the website, or is there any changeover in how people contact animal control?
Yes, they would still follow the same procedure, which is to call the non-emergency number for the police department, and they will be rerouted to Animal Control Solutions, and they have their phone number.
Okay, great. And my second question is, can you share that graphic about the social services on Saturdays at the library with Mr. Wary so we can post that on our township social media?
Yes.
Thank you. Anything else from my colleagues? We open it up to the public. Is there anybody here in this room that would be interested in speaking to our public health, or asking questions for our health officer?
I have one more thing. And the event this weekend that we were doing the food distribution at the community fridge, we found that actually of the many flyers that we had in English and Creole and stuff like that, we needed in French because our West African population actually speaks traditional French. The Creole doesn't quite cut it.
Yes.
So
I'm
if we
glad
could
that-
add that to it, and I reached out to YouthNet, there's a high school student that is fluent that's considering being that person. So
Great.
Oh, good. If I could get their contact information, then
pass
when
it
we
on.
need to do translation, that would be super helpful.
Yeah.
Mr. Wary, is there anyone online who would be interested in speaking?
If any members of the public joining us on Zoom would like to speak in public portion for the Board of Health meeting, please raise your hand now. I see no hands.
Great. So then I move that we adjourn until our next scheduled meeting on Tuesday, August 6th. May I have a second?
Thank you.
Right,
Yes.
Staffis,
Yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes,
Segnet.
Yes. Back to you, Mayor.
thank you. All right, we move to introduction of ordinances. We have one ordinance on for introduction. Ms. Fritzen?
Yes, Mayor, we do.
I know.
Item 10A, ordinance number 3126-24 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 271 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Zoning and Development Regulations with respect to R15 and R17 zones. This ordinance will amend Article 5 zoning provisions of Chapter 271 of the Township Code to amend setbacks and stepbacks in R15 and R17 zones.
Mayor, I move this ordinance. I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading, its publication according to law, in the Maplewood South Orange News Record and a hearing to be held on July 16th.
I'll second.
Ms. Kreip,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. And that goes to the planning board for review. And it says right in there that it's in accordance with the master plan, so they better find that way.
It does.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Okay. So we go from that to administrative reports. Mr. Weary, anything from the administration that we should know about?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just 3 items on the agenda that I'd like to highlight. First, we have 2 appointments on the agenda tonight. Andrew Hill is being hired as the technical assistant to the construction official in our community development office. And Anthony Bianchi is being hired as the fire inspector also in our community development office. We're excited to have them on board. And lastly, resolution number 242-24 was a unique one for us. This is a resolution accepting a donation. We received a very nice letter from Temple Beth, and their students each week bring in money, and then the class as a whole get to decide where they want to donate that money to. So this was a 6th grade class. They collected $25 and they donated it to the community fridge. So
That's
Rock-
great.
acceptance.
Those are rock stars, right?
That's great.
And we'll be sure to send them a thank you note.
Yes.
I love that.
Happy to sign it.
Very
on
good.
behalf of the township.
That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for our administrators tonight?
Nope.
Go to, don't make me laugh. Go to our township attorney, Ms. Cordidia. There you go. It's moving right along. Any questions for Ms. Cordidia? Okay, we'll go to our clerk, Ms. Fritzen.
Yeah. Two things, Mayor.
Okay.
Just to highlight one of the resolutions on the consent agenda, which I had explained to the Township Committee, was one renewal tonight for one plenary retail consumption liquor license that you could not address at the last meeting due to the fact that they did not have tax clearance. So that'll be hopefully approved tonight, but they did not lose any time in any way being open. And secondly, just to, once again, indicate the number of event planning meetings we conduct weekly due to the number of events that we have in the township. And to make sure that everything goes smooth, we conduct the meetings, and they seem to be every week.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's it.
They're important though. So any questions for our clerk tonight? Nope. All right, we'll move on to elected official reports. Committee member DeLuca.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 4 items. The first is, I guess it was last week or so, on June 20th, we held a session here in this room for home sharing. And it was, we got over 30 people joined us either in person or on Zoom. And it was well received. It was a good presentation. People learned a lot about either being a home provider. That's if you have a house that you may be overhoused, you have empty space, and you're willing to take on a home seeker. That's someone who's looking to move in, who could use some affordable housing and is willing to pay some towards the upkeep of the house or the bills of the house and maybe do some other work. So we will continue to promote this through the Department of Community Services. And then yesterday on July 1st, we had 2 sessions with OG's NJ. This is the cannabis manufacturing operation that's moving to 220 Rutgers Street. And we had an afternoon session and an evening session. Both of them were around 40 minutes. And they each had 14 participants. And we had township committee people, our director of the Department of Community Development, of course, the OG's reps, and then a total of 13 members of the public. And there was a presentation, and they folks asked questions, and I think it was, again, something that people appreciated learning more about. And I think there were some concerns out there that were resolved by the presentation.
Mr. DeLuca, can you go into a little more detail of what the manufacturing is so people?
So they're manufacturing cannabis gummies, and they're not using any cannabis leaves. They're not bringing it in. It's just oil. It comes in. It's a process that they use to convert the cannabis oil into gummies. It is not a retail operation. They manufacture it there and then sell to retail providers. And I understand that they will be selling or hope to sell to the distributors we have here in Maplewood. And so it will be a limited operation as far as deliveries. Again, there won't be customers coming there. There won't be signage up. So it's, and they actually operate in Arizona. So they have a track record, and OG's NJ is owned locally by and managed locally by folks here in Maplewood. And they're going to be providing upwards of about 20 jobs, new jobs.
Yep.
And paying taxes.
Sales?
Just to reflect this year's budget, we plugged in $610,000 in the cannabis tax.
Mhm.
So that's new money that we didn't have a couple of years ago.
That's significant.
So, and we'll be getting more, of course, with this, and once the fourth dispensary comes online. Just a quick update, the Affordable Housing Board, they did a ranking process of the submissions that we received when we put out the request for expressions of interest in developing affordable housing. I think I reported before we received 10 submissions from different firms. And the next stage now is that the board will be interviewing the top firms through that ranking, and then we'll be bringing recommendations back to the Township Committee. Hopefully, probably September, likely September. And then lastly, this Thursday, we have the 4th of July, believe it or not. And I'm just going to run through our activities for the day. At 8 a.m., there's a 5K race, and that is being sponsored by the Columbia High School Track and Field Group, and we want to thank them. And then at 10 o'clock over in Rickleton Square, we will be having our bike parade, which is always a fun thing. And we on the Township Committee who walk in front of all these bikers.
Our life.
And they run us over, yes.
And halfway through, the kids don't listen to us and just
No.
take off, and that's great. So,
All right.
and it will end up in Memorial Park, where we will have refreshments. And then at 11 a.m., we have relay races, and that's sponsored by the Soma Fox Running Club. And that'll be over in the North Field across from Town Hall. And that'll be, again, where we end up with the refreshments. So the kids will be there and they'll be able to join in the races. At 12:30, we're moving over to the community center at DeHart, and we're going to have senior bingo. There was a specific request for an age-specific activity for seniors. And so I will be running bingo there. And if you're a senior, please join us.
What qualifies as senior?
You determine. It's self-identification.
No.
At 3
Yeah,
p.m.
not getting into
No, that's not. It's
I'm not answering that question.
Right.
I'll tell you this. I have not had a problem passing as a senior for a while.
Maybe.
It's
over-
55. It's 55.
Is it?
Yes.
Whatever you want, whatever you decide. If you want to come and say you're a senior, bingo.
It's 55.
3
Yeah.
p.m. 3 p.m. we have our ice cream eating contest, and that's sponsored by the Rotary Club.
Brain freeze.
And that is, they put a dish of ice cream in front of you, and you have no utensils, and you have to munch down that ice cream.
Oh, my.
I will
goodness.
pass.
And
It's
that'll
gotta
be,
be-
again, the Rotary Club's doing that, and that will be age specific. Adults are welcome.
I wish they.
And then at 4 p.m., we have our pet parade. And again, we'll be meeting in front of the community center, and we'll be walking around the area there. We have judges lined up, so
I thought we were judging, no?
no,
Ah.
No, because I'm in it. I want to win it.
no.
Bruce and I are gonna
No. We got some ringer judges.
We're going to crush.
Yeah, you can bring your dogs.
I hope somebody brings a
Judge,
dressed
we
up
already have 3
hamster.
judges, so I
Oh,
think.
the guinea pig from the ad?
Virgin Millie.
Then, Bill Tomlin, who is manager at PetSmart,
Yeah, well, he's a trainer there.
trainer at PetSmart, and
He's a
a
trainer.
long time Maplewood
Right, photographer. and-
photographer and activist in different clubs, and used to run the pet parades. He is going to come back and be our master of ceremonies.
That's right.
Cool.
Shivers trained under him. let me
And
tell
then
you.
in the evening, we're back in Memorial Park. We have 7:30, we're going to have music, and we're going to have some ice cream vendors. We'll have a DJ there. And then at 9 o'clock, we'll have fireworks. So come on out. It's a long day, but a fun day.
What's the
And
weather
just
for?
to clarify, it's all free.
It's all free.
All
And
free.
the only thing you need to pre-register for is the pet parade.
But at this point, just show up.
Yeah.
Just show up.
Just show up.
Just show up with your pets.
Glad I went.
We
to
don't
the-
want you to not come. So if you didn't have a chance to show up, we have about 20 people that are already registered. But if you just want to come, just come with your animals. But again,
They have
as
to
we
be
say,
friendly.
no fighters or biters.
That's right,
That goes for the animal owners.
as well.
For the bike parade.
Yeah, I'm sensing a little aggression on the deputy.
Hey, you know what?
mayor's
Shivers
part
and
of-
I are gonna.
She's just competitive.
I'm saying.
And bring
Competitive.
leashes for your pets, no matter even if
And
it's a
baggies.
fish.
Oh,
Okay, that's it. That's my report.
Full day.
how do you put a
Delightful.
leash on a fish?
That's like, how do you determine a senior?
I am not gonna touch that
Okay.
with 10-foot.
All right, we'll move on to
Get
deputy.
emails.
Oh, any questions for Mr. DeLuca? Okay, we're done with you. All right, on with you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Just a few things. I wanted to give a big shout out to Zakia Williams, our manager of arts and culture, who crushed Juneteenth. It was brilliant. And thank everybody in the community who came out, because it started off slow, but it built up into a nice end of night. And I will say that that was probably the best fireworks display I've seen, and we've seen a lot around here. So I'm looking forward to our July 4th fireworks too. A reminder to people to slow down. If there are kids out playing now outside on bikes, school's out. And there have been a few incidents where we've had some close calls in certain neighborhoods, and we've gotten emails about it. We understand that you're hot and got a commute to get to, but at the same time, kids need the right to be able to play free and safely. So please slow down. Were you going to report on Maplewood Stock, or do you want me to?
I don't care. You can.
Okay, I
I'll
just wanted to
just-
let folks know Maplewood Stock is July 13th and 14th, so it's coming up. If you haven't known that the Canopy Lottery is open right now, and it's only going to be open for a few days. And this year they have something out there called the Ultimate Maplewood Stock Experience, where you can actually bid for 2 specialty tents, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, that have the works. Priority parking, Village Track gift card, water and cooler with beverage in it, all kinds of fun stuff. So please come out there and do that, and join us for that. And then finally, the Maplewood Seniors Advisory Committee is in need of a new member. We've had so many members that just kind of came on organically, but we are now actively searching for preferably a older gentleman. So if there are any older gentlemen in the community who would like to be involved in the Seniors Advisory Committee, please visit the Maplewood Township website and apply.
Vic will do it.
Vic is doing everything. He does all the things. Vic needs a day off.
Yes.
And that is my report, Mayor.
Any questions for Deputy Mayor Cripe? Thank you. No? I was actually looking at you. Of course you don't have a question. Okay.
Just did it.
Mr. Daffis.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one item. Pleased to announce that we have a new manager for Maplewood Village, Erin Rose Baldry, who has been administering the Neighborhood Preservation Grant for South Orange along the Irvington corridor, is going to join us as our new manager. And she is on board already. She's meeting with merchants this week, and she will be reaching out to you, Mayor, and to the rest of us on the Township Committee to get to know us as well. So we welcome her, and we're really excited to have her.
Very cool.
That's it.
That's it. Any questions for Mr. Daffis? All right.
My
You're
turn.
up.
It's summer, so I just want to give a shout out to all of our staff, our Director of Community Services, all of our counselors, all of our lifeguards, everybody who's working so hard to launch our summer season this year. We have it was nearly 300 swim lessons that we will be providing this year, and there were still some slots open for anybody who's interested in swim lessons. And the Makos are 3-0, and there's a meet tomorrow night at 6 p.m. at the Maplewood Pool. So come on out, and that is my report.
Go Makos.
All right, any questions for Ms. Engel? No. Flying through this meeting tonight, huh?
Jinx it.
Okay. I just have a brief report. We're revamping doing business with the township. We met with the director of the Chamber of Commerce, the Soma Chamber of Commerce, and we're going to do something a little bit more effective, probably in conjunction with them, probably in September. We're looking at Thursday, September 19th, but a lot more to come on that. We have a Maple Woodstock, as you just said, the 13th and 14th. I'm just looking at my notes. And I just want to thank committee member Daffis and Deputy Mayor Kripe for all your work on Juneteenth. It was really great. Lots of good stuff and good speeches and stuff. And I want to thank committee member Engel and committee member DeLuca for all their work on the 4th of July. So, and that's my report. Any questions for me? Great. Okay. First discussion item is Ms. Fritzen's.
Yes, Mayor. It's been the custom that you cancel the second meeting in August.
I make a
And,
motion, we cancel the second meeting in August.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
No.
Do we look
Right.
like? Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much. Deputy Mayor Kripe, you have the next item at New Jersey Transit Service.
Yes. Earlier in the week, earlier last week, we had a community forum hosted by South Orange in regards to the atrocious service that we've been getting provided probably for the last 5 years from New Jersey Transit. And then after all of the, all of the increases and various fare things and everything, it's come to a point ahead to where our community is not being served the way we deserve to be served. For the amount of money that we are putting into the transit system, it affects people's ability to earn. It's going to start affecting people's willingness to move into this town. I'm positive if this Midtown Direct doesn't, Midtown directly get you back into the city. So we need to think about ways of influencing the decisions made over there. And I understand that as an agency, we can't, as a state agency, we only have so much pull. They have to really make their decisions, but we really need to make our voices loudly heard that this is unacceptable. And it has been unacceptable for a very long time. And it's just become, that's just how it is. And that's not how it should be. We need to really think of some ways in which we can actually let them know how dissatisfied most people who live in New Jersey are with New Jersey Transit. And I know that there was a resolution, or at least something that we're trying to craft from Maplewood, possibly for other mayors in the community to sign on to. So it won't just be one town. It will be all the towns on maybe the Midtown Direct. That's how I'm feeling. I didn't know if there was any other.
Want to speak on this? I was going to read
Well,
the.
I'll just add that I want to just thank all the community members who attended the New Jersey Transit Board meeting. I listened to some of that meeting, and there were a lot of people from this area that were sharing and speaking up, and also banding together to start collecting data so that they can continue to go to those meetings. And I think it's really important for us to show up at those New Jersey Transit Board meetings. You can go in person, but there's also a phone number you can dial in, and it's one way for them to actually hear from the ridership and understand that this is a problem, because it doesn't really feel like they realize it's as big of a problem.
Or that they care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. DeLuca, Mr.
Yeah, I think, as Deputy Mayor Kripe said, this has been a long-term problem. When I was mayor, I worked with Mayor Collum, South Orange, on when it was the summer of hell, when they were doing the construction there, and they diverted trains and closed down trains. It was a mess, but we were prepared. And one of the things we learned then that you know, this joint arrangement where Amtrak owns the tracks and the lines and is responsible for the upkeep, and transit rents from them, is just not working well. And it hasn't worked well for a very long time. And it just allows them to point fingers at one another. But, you know, when you do the emergency management training, they teach you how to deal with this stuff. It's not that hard. You know, you have to be prepared. You have to be ready to intervene when there's a breakdown. And then you have to work on mitigation so that it doesn't continue. And they just haven't been able to do that. And it's an old infrastructure line, and it's much different than the subways in New York or even the Long Island Railroad, which runs on a third rail. And so you don't have the problem of the lines above, which tend to sag when it gets warm. I mean, you can even see when it gets hot, some of our lines in the street sag. It's just the way electricity works. And what happens is these trains rip these lines and it just stops everything. Because if you don't have the connection, you're just not going to get electric and you can't move trains. And so there needs to be, and I know Amtrak has done some work between New Brunswick and Trenton. There needs to be a continuation of that. There's federal money, the Biden infrastructure money should have been used for this ahead of time. This happens both in the lines and in the tunnels. These electric lines rip. And so they just need to do this, and we can't wait any longer. And they also, I think, and it was suggested to us by one of the riders, need to rethink the Hoboken. I mean, to be honest, our line is to have direct access to Hoboken is both a blessing and a curse, because we have the ability to flick a switch out there in Secaucus to send all these lines, all these trains here to Hoboken. But the problem is when they get to Hoboken, there's no additional capacity.
Right.
And I've done that many times where you get diverted to Hoboken, and it is just horrible there because they can't take the normal crowd and then all these other thousands of people. So there's other thoughts. I think there may be bus service. There may be diverting people through buses from Newark Broad to Harrison to get some other use. But there has to be something. There has to be something else done than just putting all the M&E people into Hoboken. It's just a sardine. It doesn't work. It is not the way to do business. And so I'm hoping the resolution is, encompasses all this and really puts the responsibility both on transit, the state, and Amtrak, and our federal and state officials to really resolve this once and for all.
Yeah, agreed. I know Mikey Sherrill last week put out a press release calling for New Jersey Transit to pause the rate hike and increase improvements, and also calling on federal dollars to have Amtrak improve their things. And because when Amtrak has work to do, New Jersey Transit has no ability to help with that work or do that work or anything. Mr. Daphnis, did you have anything?
I just wanted to add that I thought the meeting earlier in the week or last week, I forget when it was really productive. You know, it wasn't just a rant session. There were some really good ideas from the commuters themselves who are directly affected daily at this point, and very regularly. And I think our job as elected representatives is to keep pushing for contingency plans. We know that this situation is not going to get fixed overnight. We know the infrastructure issues that Committeeman DeLuca mentioned are long-term in planning, many of them. So there needs to be a contingency plan to get us through the summer right now. And there needs to be better communications from NJT so that people know what's going on. And even when folks are diverted to Hoboken, even though that's, not a great thing, considering the volume that gets diverted there, at least people are prepared. People can plan accordingly. And as you said, Member DeLuca, and as Mayor Adams is now experiencing, I mean, this has been going on for a really long time. Every single mayor is dealing with this. You dealt with this. I dealt with it last year when we went to them and said, we need buses. And they did it for a little bit and then they stopped. And then we went to Boxcar and brought them to Maplewood. Now you're dealing with it, Mayor Adams. I mean, this is not going to go away. We need to pressure NJT through our liaisons for immediate contingency planning and better communications. And we have to continue working with all our representatives at all levels. to make sure that this, remains a top priority for everyone. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a draft resolution, that a couple of us, worked on. I'm hoping that South Orange, will adopt a similar resolution. This is not final. We'll finalize it. I'll read it because not everyone on the Township Committee has seen it. And that way you can all decide whether or not it encompasses all of our feelings on this, and we can put it forward and pass it with Ms. Credidio finalizing it, and then I will happily send it to all the other mayors on the Morris Essex line to get them to also, ask them to also have their governing bodies prepare a similar resolution, if not the same. So this is a resolution requesting state and federal representatives to improve New Jersey Transit and Amtrak services. Whereas public transportation is a vital component of our community's infrastructure, providing essential services to thousands of residents daily. And whereas New Jersey Transit plays a crucial role in the daily commutes and travel plans of our citizens, connecting them to employment, education, healthcare, and recreational opportunities. And whereas in June, there have been significant delays and service issues with New Jersey Transit services due to problems with overhead lines providing electrical power to both New Jersey Transit and Amtrak trains, and breakdowns of New Jersey Transit equipment, which have caused undue hardship, inconvenience, and financial burden on passengers. And whereas reliable and efficient public transportation is essential for the economic vitality, environmental sustainability, and quality of life of our region. And whereas improving the quality of public transportation services will enhance the overall connectivity, reduce traffic congestion, lower emissions, and promote greater use of public transit. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the governing body of the Township of Maplewood, respectfully request our state and federal representatives to take immediate and effective actions to improve services provided by New Jersey Transit and Amtrak, and call upon our representatives to develop reliable contingency plans that would provide sufficient on-call staffing, equipment, and supplies to respond quickly to problems with the overhead lines and New Jersey Transit equipment failures. To provide passenger safety at Hoboken, immediate review and assessment of safety and efficiency of diverting thousands of rail passengers to Hoboken without any increase in capacity of the PATH trains, and evaluation of alternatives in the Hoboken terminal. Increased funding and oversight of spending, immediate use of infrastructure and other funding to increase track and train resiliency, and advocate for increased state and federal funding dedicated to upgrading infrastructure, maintaining equipment, and improving the overall quality of services provided by New Jersey Transit and Amtrak, making sure that they are directing funds to the critical issues that would most quickly improve service. To enhance accountability, implement stringent performance standards and accountability measures to ensure that New Jersey Transit and Amtrak deliver consistent, timely, and reliable services. Invest in long-term infrastructure projects, prioritizing investments in critical infrastructure projects, including but not limited to rail line upgrades, signal system improvements, and station renovations to enhance safety and efficiency. And improve communication, ensure transparent and timely communication with passengers regarding delays, service changes, and improvements, and establish robust customer service systems to address concerns and feedback effectively. And then we have it being further resolved that copies of this resolution will be sent to the Governor of New Jersey, the New Jersey State Legislature, United States Senators from New Jersey, all New Jersey members of the United States House of Representatives, and the Executive Director and Board of Directors of New Jersey Transit, urging them to take swift and decisive action to address these pressing issues. We stand united as a community in our commitment to advocating for better public transportation services, recognizing their critical importance to our collective well-being and future prosperity. How's that?
I think it sounds good.
Sounds good to me
Great.
too.
I have a couple of questions. Well, I need to read it really to be able to fully
Okay.
understand it because audio is not
Yeah,
great. But
yeah.
in the whereas section, I think we need to call attention to the cost that it's the high cost because people are having childcare issues, they're losing revenue, they're having to pay for Ubers. So there's a financial implication that's happening because the public trains aren't working. So I think that
We
might be
did have a
something.
financial burden on passengers.
Okay.
But I can elaborate on it if you like.
And the other thing was just in the action section, somebody had mentioned on that community call that cross honoring is not at all stations. So I think that's something that we should ask New Jersey
Oh,
to
yeah.
provide cross honoring everywhere so that people don't have to from downtown have to go to Penn just to get the or whatever, the situation is.
Absolutely. That's a good call.
Thank you for putting that together.
Thank you.
Is Deputy Mayor Kripe going to move it since it's her?
I
Deputy
move,
Mayor Kripe, would you like to move?
I
it
would
because it's
love
her?
to move it. So moved.
Second.
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna, I can't, I need to read it and you read it fast and I get, I'm for the principle, but I don't want to
I
move.
think
this
that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We read to move it to get a
Because we're gonna have
draft
to get written
regulated.
Yeah.
Miss Grady,
But the idea is the principle, does it capture it? And then there's gonna be, I guess you're gonna send a draft around and people
we'll
can
look at it and
edit
change
it some.
Ms. Credidio will send a draft. Are you able to do that quickly? We do this a lot though with when we all agree in concept and then our attorney drafts a resolution and we vote.
I just didn't know what we were voting on because then it comes
Yeah.
on the agenda for us to vote. So then
Right.
we'll vote on it next meeting.
Yeah. Oh,
No.
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 I'm just,
We have to do it. We have to get it out.
Yeah.
It's timely. It's an
right.
urgent.
No, I hear you, but I
Let's just vote.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
Jaffas.
Yes.
Yes.
Sengel,
abstain.
Mayor Adams.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Ms. Credidio, I will send you an email with this, but I'd also like you to take this because I have a couple notes. So I'll give it to you after the meeting. National Night Out. Oh, that's me. Is our next discussion item. So National Night Out is August 6th. Thank you. Which is also the night of our Township Committee meeting. Typically, we start our Township Committee meeting a little late. I'd like to make it a little less late since National Night Out starts at 6. For us to come in at 7:30 for closed session instead of 7 if we have closed session and start our Township Committee meeting at 8. I think that's one of the reasons is one of the committee members has difficulty making it too much later. So I'd ask that I think that gives us plenty of time to be at National Night Out for a little while. So I'd like
Yeah.
discussion on it, if everybody's okay with that.
I agree with that.
appreciate it.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
okay, good. So our August 6th Township
Do we-
Committee meeting will
Do we need
begin
to
at
move it?
8.
It was advertised at
Right.
8. So should we officially vote to change it so that we have a record?
I would say so.
Okay, then I'll move that we change the August 6th meeting of the Township Committee from a 7:30 start to an 8 PM start.
Second.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Jaffas,
Yes.
Yes.
Sengel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. And Ms. Fritzen, you'll advertise accordingly.
Yes, I will.
Thank you. We have the consent agenda. Do we
Move it.
have any? Okay.
Second.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Jaffas.
Yes.
DeLuca.
Yes.
Sengel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Now we move to our public comment for the second time this evening. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak?
Good.
You want,
I'm Jessica Winchell, and I live on Oakland Terrace in Maplewood.
way ahead of me.
And 2 weeks ago, for 3 days in a row, we had criminal activity at our home. It was very scary. So the first 2 were simple car break-ins, and we don't leave our keys in the car or any of the other things that you see online.
Mhm.
Unsafe. We're very safe. And on the third, I did report it to the police the second time. And then 2 days later, our window was opened with a device of some sort and broken, and the people came into our house and robbed us. And then they proceeded to steal our car, which I understand is very common around here these days. And according to police all over the state of New Jersey and other neighboring towns. So I wanted to bring it up. And no, I haven't been here before to previous meetings, and maybe you have discussed criminal issues around town. All of these events happened at 6 a.m., one at 5 a.m. and one at 6:15. So it was in broad daylight and in lots of video cameras, and we have surveillance footage from all of our neighbors and ourselves. We have an alarm. We do lock all of our doors, even when I'm home during the day working, if I'm home and not trying to get to work with New Jersey Transit.
Yeah.
I'm home, I do lock the door. Alone, women tend to be safer, but we are safe in the household. We don't leave our keys out. We don't leave our keys in the car. We don't do any of the things that are obvious. We've lived in urban centers like San Francisco, Philadelphia, and New York City all of our lives. We've been here for 6 years, and this was disturbing to us. We were in the home when they broke in. And the damage that they caused is costing our family thousands of dollars. And insurance doesn't really cover things, nor are we going to report certain things to insurance because we might be dropped and we can't risk that, right? So I'm a television producer and I've worked in news in my background, but I don't anymore. I work as an executive in television. So I did a little interviewing of police around town over the last 2 weeks whenever I saw somebody, as well as speaking to the people who work at the police department and the chief of police. I did get lots of different answers or information from them. And I do feel like everybody's trying to do the best job that they can. But I think me and my neighbors on Oakland Road and Oakland Terrace would appreciate more night patrols. And just a few days after our house was broken into while we were inside the house and we were robbed and the car was stolen, waking up my 14-year-old boy to investigate, which I wasn't very interested in him going downstairs to see what was happening. He thought I was maybe having insomnia and going out to get some bagels, which was not the case. A week later, someone on Oakland Road had their air conditioning removed from their home and the unit taken out of the window, and someone went into their house and they were robbed as well. And I found that out through a mutual friend because they were warning others about this. And it reminded me of living in Philadelphia when, is my time up?
Yeah, but
Yeah, but we
No,
don't care.
please
You're the only
proceed.
one here. No.
No.
I know, you
Please
were
no,
so
No.
coming up and
No.
giving me your name and address that I didn't get to give you the 3 minutes.
Anyway, I lived in Philadelphia.
It's okay.
I was but very, very underemployed in Philadelphia. And in the neighborhoods where I lived, there were bars on the windows, bars over air conditioners, second floors had bars. And that was just the way we were used to living. We left our cars unlocked so people could go inside instead of breaking windows. Like
Right.
I've lived in criminal
Mm-hmm.
crime-ridden areas before, but I didn't realize that I'm now also living in a crime-riddled area. And it's freaking me out. I'm not interested. It's costing us a lot of money. We have to get a new car. And now we're thinking about like, what's the least expensive or flashy car to get, even though we're at the point in our lives where we'd like to have a car that's comfortable for all the reasons that we have a vehicle. So my questions are, should we get some statistics of different neighborhoods? What could we do to help get more night patrols or even early morning patrols, since all of my crime happened at 5:45, 5 a.m. and 6:15 in the morning? The video that we saw had this person with the tool that broke the window just walking down the street on the sidewalk. They're not even really worried about hiding things. So that tells me that they feel very comfortable in the area. And I
Right.
just wonder what I can do as a person who lives in the community.
Well, appreciate you coming and talking to us about it. I did receive an email from one of your neighbors a little while, like a couple weeks ago, actually. So, and I know the chief has been informed me that was going to put more patrols, and he's the one who told me about the early morning aspect of it. So there should be more patrols in the early morning, but of course we'll follow up with him. And Deputy Mayor, who's
Absolutely.
Chair of Public Safety, I don't know if you have anything to add. but-
No, actually what you just did is exactly what needs to be done. Speak up and let us know.
The anecdotes that I heard from the different people I ran into and asked questions just conversationally, one person told me there wasn't enough night patrols, but not to tell anybody that they told me that. And then the chief of police, I asked him if there was an issue with resources or money to have the patrols or the shifts that he needs. And he said there was not. And he really wanted me to be sure he knew that there was enough money for it. I said, okay. So and he said
Right.
there was something in the works. And I think I've been hearing about these break-ins for like a couple of years now, the same type of thing. And we were aware and we were as safe as we could possibly be. But now we're putting thousands of dollars back into house to fix it, and more alarms and more cameras. The cameras really don't do any good, and putting lights out doesn't really deter anyone since these people were working just in daylight doing whatever they wanted. And I understand there's like a state trend of cars being stolen. I think
There is, and
breaking
Yeah.
into the home is
Yeah.
is even more. I wish they had just stolen the car actually and just
Right.
stayed outside of my house, but
Right.
coming in.
coming in.
Violating your private space is.
So I wanted to just come here and just talk about more patrols. I don't know what they could maybe pretend to be dog walkers. They could, I don't know what they need to do, but when two of the other anecdotal stories from the policeman I talked to, where it was like, there's nothing we can do because we're not allowed to have high speed chase in this town or other towns nearby. I remembered what he was talking about from reading about it in the past. But I think if there's a show of force, which seems to be a very basic police activity, a show of force will keep people just going somewhere else and not here.
Right.
So I-
Right.
No, I'm sorry that you actually were given any of those comments because they're
Yes.
horrifying.
Yeah.
That any of
I
our
also was-
professional officers.
And not in a suggestion, it wasn't condescending, it was, maybe I should get a dog. But we can't have a dog right now, that's just not in the cards.
It's
for
not-
me.
It's not about you.
I
You've
think
done
that-
all the
I think
things
I felt
correctly.
Like, I see why towns have steel bars on first and second floor windows and steel bars around air conditioning units. That's why it happens, is that you just can't stop people from breaking into your
Right.
windows.
So we will,
into your home.
We will speak to the chief and
we will
talk.
circle back between the deputy mayor and I will speak to the chief about it. I know that there was following up and some of the instances, they have fingerprints and they have suspects and they have things like that. So they are following up, but I will reiterate your concerns and make sure that they're doing it to the extent, but keep us informed if, I mean,
Well,
feel free.
Getting a new car so we could like have someone out front just to wait for them to steal that one.
I have a couple questions if you don't mind.
Service needs.
First of all, thank you for coming here, and I'm sorry to you and your family.
I think you guys probably get.
It has.
Yeah.
But still, we're very sorry. That's very alarming. When someone invades your home, it's very alarming in
Yeah.
particular. How long ago did this happen again?
It's about
2.5 weeks ago.
that were 2 days beforehand, and someone even did mention to me like, oh, they're gonna come back.
Yeah, they were testing.
Come back because they want the car.
Sure.
And I said that night, and my husband thought, I will bring the keys up to the bedroom with me. And then he said, no, I don't actually want that because I want to leave them. If they're going to come in, I'd rather them find them than come to find the keys or explore the other parts of the home.
Right.
So 2.5 weeks ago, about?
2.5 weeks ago.
Yes. And since then, have you noticed increased patrols in your neighborhood?
We had the investigator he has a like undercover car hanging out in front once, but it alarmed me because I didn't know what the car was. And then I emailed him and he said, yes, that was me. And I said, great. I thought it could be, but I didn't know the car. And then I've made it my business to look for policemen to talk to because I've been collecting this anecdotal information.
But you haven't in your neighborhood seen one other than that one time with the unmarked car. Is that correct?
I think I've seen the one person I talked to just the other day when I was out on a walk. He was around on the other.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a conversation.
Well, I'd rather have the
They
chief
really
talk to you
isn't
about it.
My house as much as just like I know there's all these.
Right.
Like, just drive around because I feel like just be seen.
Right. And
Um,
I mean, understand that there's,
not just
40
about, like,
plus miles
my
of
house,
roadway.
not
So
your
they're up being seen, but we will definitely have the chief talk to by us and then we'll also ask him to reach out to you directly.
I've already spoken to him. so,
Okay.
I think he was very polite and said all the things.
Yeah.
But I wonder,
I do know this it's not, BS that it's happening all over the state. It's happening in neighboring communities because it is. I know it's happening in Summit where I happen to work. I know it's happening in Milburn. And it's something that we are trying to address best that we can, but we need to do well enough to address it in your neighborhood as well as keeping an eye on the rest of the town.
what's funny is that someone is just going to be moving in a week and a half and they spent so much money in the home.
And
And I know, I'm probably not going to speak to them about it, but like, that's not what we want to hear.
no, they've probably already done the research. They probably already saw it.
And they're, have people just break into their house.
I have one last question. Have you found that when you have sought information from the police department, that you have received it, that your that there's open lines of communication?
I was able
Okay.
to reach out the detectives and I did leave a message for the chief and he called me back. A few people there are pretty loose with sharing their points of view on how many patrols there are a night or not.
Apparently,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've also
Okay,
just.
thank you so much for your
Okay,
time.
well,
and
thank you.
sorry This happened to you.
Administrator Wary, this is on you. You're the appropriate authority.
Yeah, we know. Any members of the public online?
If any members of the public joining us on Zoom would like to speak in public portion, please raise your hand now and you will be moved over to panelist. I am now moving over Joan Crystal, panelist. Ms. Crystal, welcome to public portion. You may unmute yourself and have 3 minutes to address the committee.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Township Committee for addressing issues with New Jersey Transit. However, in your proposed resolution, there's one important element that you forgot about. And that is the fact that our train station is not accessible for people who have mobility issues. For these people in our community, many of whom are seniors, it doesn't matter whether the trains are running on time or not because they can't use them. And I really hope you can include in the communication to New Jersey Transit the importance of having accessibility at our train station or public transportation that will take us to an accessible station. At the moment, we have neither. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crystal. We will add that to the resolution. I made a note.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else, Mr. Wary?
If any other members of the public joining us on Zoom would like to speak in public portion, please raise your hand now. I see no hands, Mayor.
Okay, thank you so much. We look for a motion to adjourn for our next meeting, July 16th.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Right,
Yes.
Staffis,
Yes.
Luca.
Yes.
Sengel.
Yes.